One of the things that's been bothering me for years is the following question. How could it be that we have to mourn the Beit HaMikdash? The whole purpose of the Beit HaMikdash is to bring the Shechina to this world. The Shechina means Hashem wants to dwell in this world. And V'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. They should make for me a mikdash and I will dwell amongst them in their hearts. The whole purpose of the Beit HaMikdash was to bring the Shechina into our hearts. And there's many ways to bring Shechina into our hearts. Our rabbis tell us that even in Galut, the Shechina goes to Galut with us. And there's many things that we do that are Shechina bringing into our lives. For example, when you pray, there's a Shechina in front of you. That's why you can't walk in front of somebody who's praying. When a person is learning Torah, 10 people that are learning Torah, the Shechina is amongst them. It says about David HaMelech that Hashem said, I'd rather David HaMelech's one day, Tovli Yom B'Hatzarecha Ma'alif. One day of David HaMelech's learning Torah is worth to God more than 1,000 olot of Shlomo. If you break up the day of a 24 hours where you're bringing 1,000 olot, it comes out to be that for every minute of David HaMelech's learning Torah is worth it more than an olah and some of Shlomo HaMelech. So we also know that for Tinokot Tarban, students who are learning Torah, we do not disrupt them in order to build the Beit HaMikdash. So if we are so particular that the Torah itself is connected to the Shechina, that we learn Torah, we're connected to the Shechina. So if so, why is it so bad that we don't have the Beit HaMikdash? And my rabbi explained very simply, as we say after Oseh Shalom Ramav, we say, Yihir Ratzon Fenecha Shetivnei Beit HaMikdash Min Rabbeinu V'ten Chelkenu B'Toratach. That you should build the Beit HaMikdash early in our days, and you should put our portion in your Torah. What does that mean? It means that when there'll be the Beit HaMikdash, our portion will be much greater in Torah. We will have a greater dosage of Shechina. You know, a woman can be modest in her house, and that's going to make sure that she has a Shechina in her house. A woman is also, and a husband is also, when they have Shalom Bayit, when you have Ish v'Isha Zachu, when they love each other and they do everything for the other and not for themselves. They are bringing Shechina in the house. When they do things for themselves, they're pushing away the Shechina. That's what the Ramban says in Geret HaKodesh. But when they do things for others, they are bringing the Shechina into their house. When a person is doing tzedakah, he's bringing Shechina into his life. When a person is going to ask a rabbi, he's asking the Shechina. That's what it says about Rivka v'Telecha Doshet Hashem, that when she went to ask the rabbis about what's in her womb, it was like she was asking the Shechina. So that means that there's so many ways that we have access to the Shechina, but if we can have a much greater access if we have a Beit HaMikdash. And that's what we're mourning about. We're mourning that extra level of Shechina. There's a lot of levels of Shechina in our lives. Like we know, in the times of the second Beit HaMikdash, there was much less Shechina than the first. And that's why even though in the second temple times they were praying the Amidah that we have, they still said, we want Hashem to bring back your glory to Yerushalayim. That he's in the middle of the process of bringing it back, but it's still not back yet in the times of the second temple. And that means that there's a lot of levels of Shechina. There was Shechina in the second temple, but it wasn't at the same velocity, the same voltage. When we have the Beit HaMikdash, we have a greater voltage of connection. And that's what we are praying for. You know, people ask me sometimes if I'm coaching, if I use AI, and I do. People ask me if I am making my videos using AI. I do. Every video I make, I'm using AI. Every coaching session, I'm using AI. Every article that I write, I'm using AI. And you know, what we plug into just makes us more powerful if we use it as a brainstorming tool, as a language model, a communication understanding of other people's, what they're going through, and how to break down people's emotions to ways that we can understand them better. It's just helping us to be plugged into that, to be super-powered people. And the same thing is true in a spiritual platform. Imagine that we had the Beit HaMikdash, we'd be super-powered spiritually. We have no idea how much greater we could be in Torah if we had the Shechina in the Beit HaMikdash again. And that's what we have to pray for. Shtibane Beit HaMikdash. And that's a question for today's class. What is it that if you would plug yourself into, you'd be on a whole nother level? What is it? Is it an AI tool? Is it a different rabbi? You look at Yeshua ben Nun, where he came from. He was the gladiator, the executioner of Paro, and then he becomes the one who takes through him the whole Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu was passed on to the Zekenim. How did he get to that level? Because he plugged himself into a great tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu. If you're going to plug yourself into the right sources, you'll be superpowered. But if you plug yourself into the wrong devices, the wrong friendships, the wrong places, you don't really know what you're missing.